Hello and welcome to episode number 29 of the Knitting Teaspoon podcast. I'm Liesbeth, your host, and this is a podcast which is all about knitting, sewing, spinning, and well, all the other crafts that I occasionally do as well. But those are the three crafts that I've been up to this week. So, today is Friday, August 31st, so I can't believe that we're at the end of August already. We are, and thank you so much for joining me. It really means a lot that you take some time out of your day and spend it with me to listen to me babble about yarn and all the things I do with yarn. So, first of all, I would like to invite everybody to join my Ravelry group. I started a Ravelry group right after recording last week's podcast episode. So, in the group's there now. There is an introduction thread, so if you'd like, you can introduce yourself to me as opposed to only listening to me, so that I can get to know you guys a bit too, or maybe you could get to know each other a bit better that way. I'd like to get some more interaction going on. I think I will have to open up a questions thread as well, so that you guys can ask me questions if you feel like there is something that you would like to hear on the podcast. And that would be the best place, I guess, to ask those questions. Although at the end of this episode you will also see a list of where you can get in touch with me. So there's Instagram, there's Ravelry, just my personal Ravelry account. There is an email account dedicated for this podcast, which is knittingteaspoon@gmail.com. You can, there are several ways to get in touch with me, basically. If you want to. Also, you can just leave a comment down below, but some comments or things you might want to ask are of a more personal nature. And if you ask me any questions that you would like to have answered on this podcast, please let me know whether or not I can share your name. But if you post in Ravelry, I will never use more than just your Ravelry name, I think. Unless you specifically state otherwise. So, then the main reason that I started the Ravelry group last week is because I am now hosting a craft along. So I would like to say knit along, but it's not exactly a knit along, because in this knit along you will have to do at least 2 crafts to be allowed to enter. So maybe if you knit a project, add a crochet edge, or crochet buttons maybe, or if you've woodworked and made buttons, that would totally count too. Or if you sew something together that was initially knit, or if you hand dye and then work with that yarn, or if you spin first and then use yarn, you name it. There are so many possibilities that I don't even know where to begin. I think I would even count it if you would crochet like a stuffy, a toy, and then knit clothes for it, or sew clothes for it, would also be totally fine. I think I'm going to allow whips, but you will have to use at least 100 meters, and that's, I think, around 110 yards from the start of this knit along, which was last Saturday. So if you're already working on something, you can totally enter that into this knit along, or craft along rather. Just make sure that before the end of October, when this craft along will end, that you will have to use at least 100 meters more. So maybe you can weigh your project now, and then from the yardage of your yarn, decide whether or not it was 100 meters. 100 meters is not that much, I feel, so I think that should be a reasonable question. Also, there's no way I can check, so just please be honest. I have thought a little bit about what kind of prizes I want to enter. So as you may know, I have been sewing some project bags which I sell on my Etsy shop. One of those project bags is definitely going to be in the prize draw. I'm not sure, but I think I will also enter a skein of my own hand-dyed yarn for the prize winner. I'm not a professional hand dyer, for those of you who are new, but I have tried a little bit of hand dyeing before, which you can see behind me. All these skeins here are hand dyed by me. And partially my boyfriend, and one time his mom joined in. But yeah, so I think that will be about it, and then maybe I can add in some more extras. I don't know. So that will be announced in a future episode before the end of October. So, well, let's get into the regular podcast episode. And for those of you who have been watching this podcast for longer, I am wearing a finished object. This is yet another Agnes top, which is a pattern by Tilly and the Buttons. This is an indie pattern designer that I utterly adore. She has these amazing patterns, very well instructed, and I've made 6 more of these shirts in the past, and now this is number 7, so I can now officially wear one every day of the week. I purchased this fabric with cute little baby seals on it in March at my birthday, or right around my birthday. There was this fabric fair in Eindhoven, which is the place where I live. It's in the Netherlands, for those of you who don't know. I apparently collect all these sea creatures. So here it is. I'm going to try and stand up for you guys to hopefully give you a little bit of a better view. This is slightly dangerous because I am now standing on I'm sitting on a bar stool when so I hope this was not just a poop shot. So I've stood up and tried to show you my shirt. It's just a very plain long sleeve t-shirt, and it's made out of this seal fabric. I don't know exactly what fabric it was. There was nothing written on the edge of the fabric, as is sometimes the case. I know that I purchased this from a fabric fair, and that this was the last remaining bit that the shop had. Well, there you go. That's really no information at all. But it's out of a stretchy jersey fabric, cotton and some elastan, I think. So cotton and some plasticky additive, probably around 4% of this shirt. I really like it. I was very happy about the neckline at first of the shirt. I only made it yesterday because I feel like the top stitching, it worked out so great. I can probably show you guys, like here. The top stitching really looks neat, I think. But I feel like I made a tiny mistake in placing the this neckband. Because it feels like this curls open a little bit more than I'd like it to. And on the back side, it might be a bit more stretched out than is absolutely necessary. So I think there's still room for improvement, as, almost always, I guess. But this is not the only project that I've been working on, and it's not even the only finished project of this week. There are 2 projects, 2 more finished projects this week. One of them you may have expected if you've watched last week's episode It's the pot holder that I knit for my brother. So this is, a pot holder, and the picture is of a glider plane, because my brother, he likes the glider plane, so he had his birthday last week, and this week I will, actually later today, I will see him again. He lives quite a bit away from me, so I don't see him very often, and he didn't celebrate his birthday last weekend. So yeah, I will just give it to him today. So this is a double knit project. So the front and the back side were knit at the same time, and they were a flat piece. There is not really any strands going on in this work because, you knit one stitch on the front side, knit one stitch on the front side, purl one stitch for the back side, and if you change colors, then you will just shift which yarn you have on the front side and which one you use on the back side, and that way you can have what in normal color work would be very long floats just happen. You can just use a bit of the opposite color at any position that you would like. So I think that's very nice, but it is a bit hard on your hands. I used some cotton for this. It's lana grossa cotola, so it's just some mercerized cotton that I purchased in Austria last year's summer, so not this year's summer that is almost over. While I was on holiday there, with my family amongst my brother, and I just picked these colors for him and knit him a pot holder while we were there, and then I picked up 2 more skeins because I had finished one pot holder. I made the design myself for this one, so here they are. I printed out the pattern twice, once in reverse and once the right way around. I don't know, but because I'm doing double knitting, on one side I see the pattern in this direction, and on the other side I see the pattern in this direction. True, on one of the sides the colors will be reversed, but I thought it would be just so much easier to count out where I am if I just have the patterns twice. It's my own pattern, so I can share of these pictures whatever I like, and I think I will soon just publish this as a pattern on Ravelry, but I am incredibly busy with work at the moment, and then there's some other life stuff going on. I don't know, people are planning events like crazy, and you don't want to miss them all, but sometimes it's just a bit much, and I feel like I don't have any weekends left anymore at all. But that's probably just part of this transition to starting working. This is how much I had left over. So when I was on holiday, I didn't have any scales or anything with me. I also didn't weigh the skeins before I started knitting. So they were both 50 gram skeins, and or supposed to be 50 gram skeins at least. And when I got back, I think I had 24.5 grams of both skeins left over, and I didn't know whether or not that was enough to finish a second pot holder for my brother. But I decided to just try it anyway and see how far I would go, but to be sure, pick out 2 more skeins if I need them. Well, it turns out I didn't need them, but really this is like twice my wingspan, so 3 meters, and this is obviously slightly more, but this is still close enough to play yarn cheating, I feel. So I'm very happy that I got it finished. It's all the ends are woven in, and I think my brother will definitely like to receive this as a present. So he soon will. Um, and then there is one more project that is very excitingly finished this week, and this is one that can be a part uh, of the more than one craft along that I'm hosting at this point, because this is my handspun, and it is finished, and it's not just these two skeins. There's also these two, and well, actually there are even tiny bits more, and I think one of these actually includes two skeins, because I had two mini skeins and now I can only find one, so probably one is wound up with one of the other skeins, but honestly I don't know where. Maybe it's this one? I don't know. Could be. How do I know? Well, so I purchased some fiber last year on Knit and Knot, which is a fabric fair hosted twice every year in Tilburg, but I went to the September-October version last year, and yeah, I purchased 4 braids of fiber that they had hand dyed. 2 of them were biological merino, and 2 of them were BFL, so Blueface Leicester. And yeah, I wanted to make a sweater with this, so I purchased myself a sweater's quantity of fiber, and I finally managed to spin it all, and yeah, I definitely will have enough to make a sweater, because this is apparently a light fingering weight, so it's about 480 meters per 100 grams, so and I have, well, not quite 400 grams, because if you start spinning you will typically lose some bits of fibers that are not that useful. Also, I had a bit of single ply left over after spinning with this, so at that point I also didn't remember whether or not it was the merino or the BFL that I had left, so a part of it I Navajo plied, or tried to Navajo ply. Navajo plying is not really my thing, as you can see, or I need a bit more practice. Also, the other fiber that I've spun, well, some of the skeins are definitely very overplied. So I tried to kick up this tiny little bit of leftover Navajo plied version of my own yarn. Yeah. It was fun at least to try this thing, but the yarn is a bit wonky. Let's just say I wouldn't buy yarn like this, I guess. So yeah, I'm pretty proud that I've managed to spin an entire sweater's quantity of yarn. I'm pretty sure that I've spun more than 100 grams this week. Last weekend I had a crazy spinning weekend, actually, because my boyfriend's mom is trying to learn how to spin. So we went over there, and I took my spinning wheel with me. She had her own spinning wheel that she had recently got from a friend, and yeah, we tried, and I think she made huge progress on her spinning skill. It's not quite there yet, but I think on internet there are so many tutorials that make a lot of crafts seem so easy and calming and relaxing and just so nice, and then when you try them they are just hard. Let me tell you, they are not easy to do. So if you struggle with learning how to spin, I know how it feels. It didn't come easy to me either. Yeah, it's been a tough journey, but I think that the works that I make now are still far from perfect, but they are, well, neat enough to be able to knit something with it that I would actually wear. So I'm planning to make a sweater or maybe a cardigan out of the yarn that I've spun. I will probably alternate the skeins quite a bit to avoid excessive pooling or anything like that going on, because there is a quite obvious difference in color between the different braids. And I'm planning to make one of the ziggurats by Osa Tricosa, which is a book that I've purchased from my first paycheck. So I really want to start knitting something out of that book. And what yarn would be better than my own hand spun? Problem is, I have a light fingering weight. I don't know if there's any sweaters in there that are designed for light fingering weight. But then again, I'm pretty sure that if it's made for a heavier weight, then I will be able to do the math and just do it in light fingering weight anyway. So then there's been 2 more projects that I've been working on this week. Both of which I had hoped to have some more significant progress on them. But when I consider how much time I spent on, well, this is just one evening's worth of sewing, so that's not that crazy. But I spent, especially on the spinning, I spent hours and hours and hours and hours, and the result is there, but the yarn is not even completely dry yet from washing it. I've been trying to relax it to get a little bit of the overpliedness to relax a little bit, but it's still pretty much overapplied. There were 2 more projects, and one of them is my summer top. As you may know, I have been working on this summer top for quite a while. I haven't made a huge amount of progress since last week because, well, last week I was here, so there's maybe like 1.5 inch here. Note that this is lace weight yarn, so it takes a while to knit with it. But there is something that has changed compared to last week, and maybe you can see it here. I started to add some waist shaping, so maybe you will be able to see the increases here, and maybe you won't be, I don't know. So for those of you who are having a hard time picturing this as a top, well, you will see the neck gap here, and then there's armholes here. Well, this should kind of look like a top, right? I think this way you can see it, and then I just need some more length because, well, my torso is longer than this. So hopefully it will be done by the beginning of next summer. Yeah, it takes a long time to just knit, stockinette and around. I do so on the train to work. I even had some extra train time this week because there was this crazy person with a weapon who needed to be arrested in a train, which caused all of the train traffic to be cancelled at the tiny track that I have to take to work. So yeah, that was a bit of fun. At first they don't tell you what's going on, and then they tell you that there was this person who thought it was necessary to take a weapon onto the train, which in the Netherlands is cause for complete chaos because weapons are not allowed here. Not even firearms. It wasn't even a firearm. So yeah. The people feel threatened here if someone carries a weapon, unless they are clearly visible police officers or maybe other security type persons. But other than those type of professionals, no one is allowed to carry weapons, or they will have to have a very special permit. So, yeah. Then there is one more project that I talked to you about last week, and I shared that I was hoping to have some more significant progress on my blanket, and this is what the next square looks like, because I feel like last week I finished a square, and yeah, this is what the next square looks like. So this does not look like a significant amount of progress on the blanket, and in terms of knitting I completely agree with you, but I had previously finished the knitting on 4 more of the border squares. So here they are. But I had none of the ends woven in on the back side. So here you can see no ends dangling from the back side anymore. And also here, no ends on the back side. And here, also no ends on the back side. And yet again here, no ends on the back side. I feel like I could just record this once and then just put myself on repeat. Yeah, I know that this is not very exciting to look at, but yeah, I think it's important to keep up with weaving in the ends. I'm not going to be happy if there are a gazillion ends soon, so it's good that I've taken some time to weave in some more ends, and I'm hoping to stay on top of weaving in the ends a bit more from now on. That's not even all the weaving in ends that I've been doing, because this is the blanket. Let me show you the front side first. So I have these log cabin squares that you may have recognized before on the edge of my blanket, and then in the inner part I have these tinier squares. And because I've made all these tiny squares, it means like a mess of ends to weave in, but I am just on the last row of ends that I would already have woven in if I were perfectly on track. So as you can see here, there's only one end and one end. That's because I've been weaving in ends on this row as well. So yeah. It's not the most exciting progress, but it is progress nonetheless. So I'm pretty proud of how much I did on this blanket this week. This project will also be eligible for, or would also be eligible for the More Than One Craft Along if I were to enter myself, which, well, I will share my progress, of course, as well. But it feels silly to enter your own giveaway. Or, well, your own and knit along in that sense. So here is a crochet edge on this piece, which is between the 2 different log cabin squares. So that's how I see them together. So knitting and crochet together means 2 crafts, which means eligible for the More Than One Craft Along, and you can bet this is more than 100 meters, so it would be fine in terms of that as well. And if not, then I would still have until the end of October to knit at least 100 meters in this project, but I'm pretty sure I've already done so this week. Well, maybe not this week, but last 2 weeks, sure. And the summer top would also count, because at this point it's only knitting, but I will add a crochet edge to keep the edges of the work from rolling around. So yeah, then it will also be knit and crochet, which would count. And my spinning, if I happen to knit at least 100 meters out of this yarn that I've just spun, would also count towards the More Than One Craft Along. And this week only, unfortunately, well, this pot holder, well, that one just wouldn't count, because it's just one craft. It's double knitting. It's very special. It's a difficult technique, I think, or at least it's not the easiest that I've done so far. But it's just one craft, so that doesn't count. Also, I don't require you to have a finished object by the end of October. Just have fun. That's the idea. Yeah. I think that's all I've had to share with you this week, and yeah, It's about to be sunrise here. I'm very early in the morning today. Anyway, so thank you so much for joining me this week. It's been lovely to talk to you again, and I hope to see you again next week. So have a lovely week, and bye!